Hi, welcome to Future Technos today. I want to share my long-term review of the Nikon Z8. I have been using this camera for more than 14 months now, and I think it is finally the right time to tell you everything about it. From the very first day I picked it up, I felt something familiar, something almost nostalgic. It instantly reminded me of the Nikon D850, a camera that I truly loved and trusted for years. Many mirrorless cameras I tried before never really gave me that same comfort. They always felt a little strange in the hand. A little too different, but the Z8 felt natural, solid, and balanced, as if Nikon designed it with the D850 in mind, but gave it a brand new engine under the hood. And that is exactly what this camera feels like, a D850 that has been supercharged. During this past year, I have used the Z8 for many different types of photography. Fashion, products, portraits, wildlife, and even landscapes. No matter the job, the Z8 was the first camera I reached for. It quickly became my go-to tool, and I rarely looked back. Of course, like with any powerful machine, it took me some time to get used to it. In the beginning, I had to tame it, learn its quirks, and understand its strengths. But once that bond was made, the camera started to feel like an extension of myself. It became reliable, fast, and accurate in a way that truly changed my workflow. Before I go deeper, let me make something clear. For me, a camera is simply a tool. I know some people get emotional about gear, but I try to stay practical. Tools serve us, and the way we use them can differ from person to person. What works for me might not work for you. What feels right for my style may not fit yours at all. So keep that in mind while I share my experience. I am not here to tell you this camera is perfect for everyone. I am simply sharing how it worked, for me, in real situations, over the past 14 months. Now, let's talk about how it felt in my hands. The Z8 has a weight that makes it feel serious. Not too heavy, not too light, but solid in a way that inspires confidence. The grip is deep. The buttons are well placed, and the texture feels premium. If you've handled cheaper mirrorless cameras, you know that some of them almost feel like toys. The Z8 is nothing like that. It feels professional, strong, and dependable. It makes you want to trust it even before you press the shutter. Nikon did a great job making this camera feel close to their DSLRs, and that matters a lot to me. But it wasn't all perfect. In the early months, some units had problems with the lens mount and even the strap eyelets. Thankfully, Nikon quickly addressed those issues, and they are no longer a concern today. For my unit, once I got past the adjustment phase, I found the build quality to be excellent. Still, I will say this, while it feels close to a D850, it is not exactly the same. The D850 has a certain indestructible quality that is hard to beat. The Z8 is very close, but not identical. The first 2 months after I bought the Z8, I did not take it on a professional shoot. That might sound strange, but I had my reasons. I had already made mistakes in the past by rushing into jobs with new mirrorless cameras. I learned the hard way that you must first get comfortable, test the limits, and see where a camera might fail. I didn't want to risk an important shoot by relying on a tool I wasn't fully familiar with yet. So I spent weeks learning the menus, testing autofocus, experimenting with settings, and just getting to know the Z8. When I finally took it on a commercial shoot, it was a relief. The Z8 was fast, precise, and above all, accurate. Focus was sharp, tracking was solid, and the images looked fantastic. That day I realized I could finally trust a mirrorless camera the same way I used to trust my D850. And for me, that was a breakthrough moment. In commercial work, speed is everything. You might have models waiting, makeup artists working, stylists adjusting clothing, and a client or director looking over your shoulder. Time is money, and there is no room for hesitation. With my D850, I could shoot 800 photos in a day, and almost every single one of them would be sharp. Maybe I would miss focus on 3 or 4 shots, but that was usually my fault, not the camera's. When I first switched to mirrorless years ago, that was no longer the case. Out of 800 shots, I might lose 50 or even 60 to missed focus. That is unacceptable when people are paying for results. I found myself rechecking every frame, retaking shots, and wasting time. But with the Z8, accuracy came back. It was almost on par with the D850, and that gave me so much confidence. I no longer had to doubt every frame. I no longer had to second-guess the autofocus. That trust is something you cannot measure on a spec sheet, but for a working photographer, it makes all the difference. Still, there was one big frustration. After Nikon released firmware version 2.0, tethering with Lightroom stopped working properly. For studio work, this was a big problem. I usually shoot tethered so that clients can see the photos live on a calibrated monitor. Before the update, it worked fine. After the update, Lightroom simply stopped recognizing the Z8. I had to find workarounds, like using Nikon's own software to dump images into a folder and then asking Lightroom to auto-import them. It worked, but it was slow and clunky, and in a fast-paced environment, it felt like a step backward. This is something Nikon still needs to fix because for many studio photographers, it is a serious issue. But let's focus again on the positives. The autofocus is incredible. It is fast, confident, and reliable, even in low light. Eye detection works beautifully for portraits, and subject tracking for wildlife is excellent. The speed of the camera is also outstanding, with burst shooting that can handle action with ease. Add to that the colors, which are classic Nikon, rich, natural, and especially strong for skin tones. To me, Nikon colors still stand above most other brands.